What are we going to talk about today? The top 15 dirty tricks that the insurance companies don't want you to know. How do insurance companies spy on injured workers in their workers' compensation cases? They follow you. They know where you live. They learn the car you drive. They do a little bit of homework. A lot of them are retired police, or there's someone in the organization that knows how to do a little digging. They know what your license plate might be. They know what you look like. Or a lot of times the insurance company will schedule an IME, and now they know where you're going to be and when you're going to be there. And you're going to go there and you're going to sign in and identify yourself with the doctor's office. And now they know exactly who you are, what you drive, and now they know how to follow you. When you go grocery shopping, do you buy big, heavy items and carry them around, or do you buy the bare essentials and put them in one little shopping bag because you can't handle too much? Do you pick up your kids or your grandkids and throw them up in the air and catch them, something that you might not be able to otherwise do with the injuries that you have or you shouldn't be doing? They follow you around. They film you. They write notes. They take reports of what you do. Insurance companies use surveillance to their advantage, to your disadvantage. So it's unfortunate, but that's a trick that they play. They can even pretend to be someone else. I had a client who was hurt, home from work. His wife was the owner of the apartment building that they lived in. And the apartment on the top floor was vacant. It was up for rent. And they had a for rent sign in the window. And there was a knock on the door. It was all on video, we learned. It was a investigator. And he said, "Hey, I saw the for rent sign in your window. I'd like to check out the apartment." And my client said, "Okay, my wife is in charge of that. And I really can't be doing too much because I'm injured. Come back tonight at 6 o'clock when she gets home from work and she'll show you the apartment." "No, I can't come back. This is the only time I can see the apartment. I want to see it right now. This is the only time I can see the apartment." And my client said, "All right, if this is the only time you could see the apartment, I will do what I can." And he got the key. He slowly walked up the stairs, and we had video of him walking up the stairs. And he said, "Go take a look. When you're done, let me know that you're leaving, and have a nice day." And that was used against him. The insurance company argued that he was able to walk up all these stairs when he shouldn't have been, and he was essentially working as a realtor. He was showing apartments, and they tried to use it against him. So sneaky tricks like that are what they do. Sometimes they'll even tell you in court, "Hey, we're disclosing we have surveillance," just to put that shock into you that they've been following me. Maybe they have something. Oh my God. Now I got to watch out. And sometimes it never even gets shown. It just scares you, causes a slip up, tries to make you look bad. Raising the allegation of fraud, even noting that there might be surveillance, attaches a stigma to your case. Judges are human beings also, and they try to be as impartial and fair as possible. But when you hear that somebody has surveillance on them, when you hear that there might be a fraud allegation, it plants a seed in people's mind. That seed can germinate, and it can cause some ideas to form that might not be helpful to you. So you want to be careful. They try to get recorded statements before you hire an attorney. Clients who are severely injured, laid up in their hospital bed, and who shows up the insurance company. Just a couple questions. Tell us what happened. What were you doing? How were you doing it? And they take a whole big recorded, formalized statement. And if anything ever comes up in the future that contradicts that statement in any way, whether it's major or minor, they're going to try to use it against you and show that you might not be forthcoming and truthful. And memories sometimes falter and change, especially around the time of an accident. You might not remember things as clearly as you thought. They might even talk to family, friends, neighbors, just to get some dirt on you. They'll go knock on your neighbor's door and they'll say, "Hey, your neighbor over there, Mike, where's he been?" Maybe they're expecting, "Oh, he's been at work. You know, he got hurt working construction, but he's a bus driver also." "Oh, wow, I didn't know that." They'll approach your neighbors, they'll approach your family and friends. And look, if you're being less than truthful and then they got something on you, you shouldn't be lying. You shouldn't be dodging the truth. But whatever they think they can do to put a limit on your case or deny your benefits completely, they're going to try. Cases get expensive. And if an insurance company can stop the bleeding, they're going to certainly do what they can to do that. How do workers' comp insurance companies mess with your medical treatments? They're going to send you to an IME. IME is an independent medical examiner. It's a doctor that is hired by the insurance company to give his independent medical opinion about whatever issues are relevant in your case, whether your injuries are causally related to the accident, your level of disability, your need for surgery, permanent disability. So who are they there for? They're there for the guy that's writing the checks, paying the bills. And sometimes they do their best to downplay what your doctor has said about your injury or to be the counterpoint to your doctor's point. And that's what they try to do. They'll make you sign HIPAA forms, medical release forms to give them access to all your medical records. They do digging. They're going to go back into your past and try to find, if you're claiming a bad back today, they're going to go back and dig through all your meds to see if you ever hurt your back or treated for your back in the past so they could try to dump it on pre-existing conditions called apportionment. If you are 100% disabled from work today, but you hurt your back 10 years ago, they're going to say, well, big chunk of this is due to the 10 years accident and it's only been getting worse, and this minor little thing was insignificant, they'll try to blame it on intervening accidents, subsequent accidents, accidents that happen after your workers' comp accident, if they exist. The 4.3 form, your medical report, which provides evidence that you've reached maximum medical improvement and that you have a permanent disability. That form does not really provide a clear spot in the spectrum of work abilities from very heavy work down to sedentary work. There's check boxes. Can your patient perform very heavy work, medium work, light work, sedentary work? There's nothing there for total disability, no work. So sometimes your doctor will check sedentary work and they jump on that. They say, hey, you're not totally disabled anymore. You're partially disabled. And they just try to use that against you sometimes. How do workers' comp insurance companies delay your case on purpose? Sometimes they slow things down. They are delaying cases to the extent of what the law permits. When a doctor requests authorization for surgery, for instance, and it has to go through the PAR process, there's a time frame as to how long the insurance company has to respond. And if they can stretch that time as long as possible and make you sweat it out, and then maybe they'll throw a settlement offer in there, hoping you'll jump on that and take it and just walk away, they win. So we sometimes call it starving you back to work. They withhold your benefits for as long as possible until you can't take it anymore and you have to go back to work. Sometimes they might ignore treatment requests. They're not allowed to just ignore a request for treatment. They have to respond if the treatment request has been properly submitted. But if something is not 100% proper, and sometimes as simple as a checkbox or something like that, they will avoid it and let the board deal with it and say, oh, it was not properly submitted and you got to give it another shot. And now it just dragged on another 30 days. The without prejudice is another thing that they will use. Sometimes an insurance company will say, we'll authorize the surgery without prejudice. Okay, I'll go get my surgery. But what happens if you actually try to schedule that surgery? The hospital doesn't care about prejudice or not prejudice. They care about getting paid. So a lot of doctors and hospitals will tell us, we're not moving forward until this is specifically authorized with prejudice. Because without prejudice means they could just turn around after the surgery and say, nah, we're not paying. We don't think it's related. Sorry. And then who's left holding the bag there? The doctor, the hospital, and it causes problems. So the without prejudice is something you have to watch out for. How do workers' comp insurance companies cheat you out of money? How do they cheat you and take your money? So your employer and the insurance company are supposed to report your earning. Your average weekly wage is calculated by looking at the 52 weeks leading up to your accident, all your gross weekly earning. And I've seen employers leave overtime off the document, leave the value of the apartment if they get a free apartment, parking space that they get for free, utilities, cell phone. You know, there's a lot that goes into a person's salary. It's not always just money. And all those factors need to be considered when determining average weekly wage, because the higher your average weekly wage, the higher your rate of compensation. Your insurance company does not know what your salary is. Your employer knows what your salary is. The insurance company doesn't know if your employer is misreporting your earnings or doing something nefarious to keep your benefits down. So reporting your average weekly wage is super important. And that's why it's important for you to speak to your attorney so that he can compare what they reported to what you have to make sure that you're getting the proper rate of compensation. That's why you keep your pay stubs, your tax returns, any proof, any evidence of your earnings. And if you work a second job, get that as well. Get it to your lawyer, get it to me. Let us find that money. We find it and we get it for you. Sometimes they only use part of your pay if you worked for different companies or different job sites. They will split up your pay. We have a client who's a super in a building. It's multiple buildings in a development, and each building is its own corporation. And they only reported to us what he was earning at the one building where he got hurt at, and they kind of forgot about all the others. We're going to look at it as what we call concurrent employment, but they tried to get sneaky, and Rex caught them. The quick cash settlement, the quick dollar, the low ball offer. Sometimes it's a numbers game. They know you're down on your luck, you're down on your money, you're hurting physically, financially you're hurting, you might not be working, you have bills to pay, you have kids to feed, you have rent, and sometimes they will shoot you an offer that's just good enough to make you interested. And even though it might not be worth the value of your case, they know if they throw these initial lowball offers at a bunch of people, some of them are going to take them and it's going to save them money. And ultimately, it's going to cost you in the long run. How can an injured worker protect themselves in a workers' compensation case? Keep your evidence, keep your documents, pay stubs, W-2s, taxes, doctor's notes, emails, text messages. The cell phone of today has become the most valuable tool in proving notice in a workers' compensation case. What does that mean? We need to prove what we call ANCR, accident, notice, and causal relationship. 1, did you have an accident? 2, did you give notice to your employer? Under the workers' compensation law, you were required to give written notice of an accident or an injury to your employer within 30 days, unless they have actual notice. Actual notice is they watched you fall off the ladder, and they saw you trip and fall, or you went and told them right after, or a coworker said, oh my God, Johnny just fell off the ladder. That's actual notice. Sometimes hard to prove. But what is the text message of today giving us? Boss, I just fell off the ladder. Boss, remember yesterday when I fell off the ladder? I can't come in today. Boss, I'm at the doctor's office because I fell off the ladder like you know about from 2 days ago, those text messages are golden. They are written notice. They are evidence. Save them, screenshot them, stop deleting them. Keep your proof. It's huge. It's so important. Talk to your doctors. Your doctor's notes, they're the fuel in the gas tank. Your lawyer can't do their job, and a judge can't get you benefits without good medical. If you're developing a consequential injury, you had knee surgery and you're limping around, and because you're overcompensating, you have a bad left knee, or you're using crutches and now your shoulders hurt. Those are consequential injuries. Talk to your doctor. Explain those things to your doctor so that they could put it in the medical report and we could try to get you benefit for your injuries. That's all related. The law allows it. You're entitled to it, but we got to prove it. And how do we prove it? With good medical. Be honest. Be upfront. Maybe you had an accident 3 years ago. I know you're afraid to tell anybody because you think it's going to hurt you and hurt your case. It's going to hurt you more if you don't tell them. Tell them about old injuries. Tell them about old accidents. Anything that might be relevant. Be honest. And you're better off getting out in front of it than if they catch you lying. Because if they catch you lying, you're done. You get nothing. All you get is medical. You never will see $1 on your case again if the judge really thinks you're lying. Write down your story early. How the injury happened, how you feel, helps you stay consistent. Document it. We're not computers. Memories shift. Don't let your humanity get in the way. Don't let your brain get in the way. Write it down. Write down the facts. How I got hurt, when I got hurt, what happened to me, what body part I hurt. Sometimes you can be wrong, you can be inconsistent, and they're going to try to drill you on that. The cell phone, take a voice memo. So I just want to leave this voice memo. Yesterday, while I was working doing construction for XYZ construction company, I was up on the ladder, hanging sheetrock on the ceiling. The ladder gave way and I fell down. And, whatever information you leave, now it's right there for you. This way down the road, when you're talking to your lawyer, you just left yourself a beautiful memo of where everything is. Oh yeah, I do have that text message. I saved it. Here it is. You win. Simple, simple. Call a lawyer. The longer you wait, the more it could cost you. And it could cost you everything. Simple as that. Don't wait. I couldn't begin to tell you how many times a case comes in, a relatively minor looking case, a back injury with limited lost time, turns into a $150,000 settlement. 3, 4, 5 years down the road. If you get hurt, document it, report it, call an attorney. This way you're safe. Once you have a lawyer, if the insurance company calls you, if somebody that you don't recognize calls you to talk about your case, tell them, I'm sorry, I would feel a lot more comfortable if you called my lawyer. Call my lawyer. Let us take care of it. This way you don't have to worry about it. And now you're protected. So make sure you have a good lawyer. Make sure you have me if you don't. 212-406-8989. As always, folks, if you have questions, post them up here and I'll do everything I can to answer all the questions. Love you guys. Have a wonderful, safe rest of your day and week. Bye-bye.